All right, guys, welcome to the new Regal Gentleman Studios. Today we've got Kieran in the chair. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm good, mate. I'm good. I can't complain. So what do you want to do today? What's the plan?
I usually get like I try and get a taper fade.
Okay.
I've been having I'm from Northampton originally, so I moved out to London and I had a bit of a tough time with the barbers.
Oh, okay.
So it's hard to find one that kind of cuts it how I like it. So, like at the moment, this was supposedly from a taper fade, but you can see like the weight difference is, well, for me it's quite significant. Like this was kind of cut quite short, and then this is quite long.
Yeah.
Picture. So my barber in Northampton did this once, and this was quite nice.
Okay.
But I don't know if my sides are actually too short to do something like this now, because this is when I had a bit of length and a bit of weight. To be honest, all I've wanted is like I work in like I'm a financial advisor.
Okay.
So a bit more of a blend, I think, and I like the length on top. I really do.
Okay.
And maybe just a bit off the top, I guess.
Okay.
Taper down a bit more if it's possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Like I love that. Oh, sorry, ignore those. I love that kind of.
Okay.
That kind of
I know that. I know the kind of. Oh, okay. Yeah. I know what you're going for. Yeah. If we have a little look at what we're going for. So tell me, let's forget about the back and sides for now. Tell me how you tend to style the top, or how you'd like to style the top.
So my parting's like, you can probably kind of see it. It's like here.
Yeah.
And then this all just kind of gets swept over to this side.
Okay.
Now cool. I'm like liking longer hair a bit more. I think it's nice when it's just like, this is going to sound really weird, but I feel like sometimes my hair is healthy and sometimes it isn't.
Okay, no, it doesn't sound weird. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
When it's healthy, it sits really nicely. Right now, I don't think it's too healthy, but usually it kind of flops down to the side this way.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a bit longer at the moment, but you can see there's like a little dip here because there's not enough weight here, I think. So maybe, I don't know.
I think it's just a bit of a wave. I think there might be a bit too much. I think what it is, I think could be a little bit too much length there.
So yeah, I want to kind of even that out, kind of thing, so it doesn't sit like that maybe anymore.
Okay. Yeah, the parting can still be there. I just don't know how well the parting would sit, though. That's the problem, because obviously, if you look at what we've got now, we've got very short hair right on the parting, and then we've got loads of length sitting there. So you know what I mean. So we have to kind of remove that length to blend it into the sides.
Sure.
But then the problem is, the minute you start losing some length off there, that becomes like really apparent of how short it is. But it's right on where your parting falls. So usually the parting is the longest point, and then it falls over. That's what kind of creates that parted effect. But it's kind of like the other way around in some ways. It's like, and obviously you've got the longer bit right at the front there. It's very long as you pull that bit down there. And then on this side, you've got quite a heavy disconnection through that point there. See, there's the kind of like, that bit's kind of just on its own, you know what I mean? That bit there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really blend into anything. Even behind it, there's the section behind, so it's kind of left on its own. I honestly think though that this haircut might just be best blending it, getting it uniform, and then growing it into the shape that you want. Because I think if we try and achieve something too much now, it might end up going back a little bit sort of too short. If I blend in the sides and the back to the top, taper the sides down, keep as much length through here as you can, because we need to go these bits out to get the same effect. Then if through the top, if it's all right, if I just try and kind of balance out whatever length is most common through the top, you'll still have length on the top. It won't be as much as you have now, because if you look at that, the left-hand side is quite short. So where your parting is the shortest point, and where there's no parting is the longest point, which is like the other way around. So you've got a parting that should be the longest point, and this should be the shortest point connected in, and that's what will create that kind of shape there.
Perfect, let's do
it. You know what I mean? So I think if we can do that, that would help, and then maybe come back, we'll film again, and we'll cut it into the shape that you want.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. All right, man. Cool. Right, well, let's get you gowned up, and let's get you started, man.
Perfect. I was getting up like I need to put on an outfit, like a little outfit.
Nah, mate, you can just sit down and chill now, mate. That's all you need to do.
Because I showed my whenever I go to the barber, I use pictures.
Yeah.
And my last barber, I had a screenshot from a video from Regal Gentleman.
Did you?
I did, and he goes, "Oh, Regal Gentleman, I watch those videos too."
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And then it got into a very kind of in-depth conversation about scissors and how they're quite pricey. You don't realise it.
They are, mate. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Oh yeah. They're very pricey. Yeah, you can get some can run into the thousands, mate. You know. But again, it's. You know, it's a bit like a chef and his knives, though, isn't it? If you think about how much a chef pays for actual professional knives, you're talking thousands of pounds. It's very similar, really. You know, you can't cut anything other than hair with these scissors. You know, if I was cut a bit of paper, you'd blunt them. So you can't really, you can only use them for hair because they're so fine. So it is crazy, mate, yeah. But speaking of scissors, I'm actually just trying to connect in the top. So what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm just trying to connect this connection in and maintain as much length through there. So all I'm doing is just doing horizontal sections to the point of where I can connect. So a bit like doing a transition, going a little bit just above the round of the head because that's where this connection was, and I'm maintaining all that. So I want to try and maintain all of that length through here now. I just want to break up the blend, should we say. So if I get around to here, this is where we can start to see that kind of like length that's on its own. And as you can see, I have gone over with it. If you look at Kieran's hairline, you kind of got to go over around the head a little bit to get to his recession point because of the hairline. So again, just adapting to hairlines, adapting to what the haircut we've got, just trying to maintain as much length as possible, add that taper, which will show off a lot more. And then also I can start to transition into the top as well. There we go. So that'll do for now. So I'm going to work on the taper now. So I'm going to start with a 1.5 and start to work this up into the existing hair. And down to my 0.5. There we go. I'll work the 1.5 up and off first. Again, I want to kind of try and show off as much of the length on the back and sides as we've currently got. So that way we'll kind of get to that finished look much sooner. So how do you find hairstyles in your industry have changed over the years?
I feel like there's more fades nowadays.
Oh really, yeah?
Yeah, I feel like, I feel like even over my lifetime, like the fade just got increasingly popular.
Yeah.
To the point where when I was at school, everyone just wanted a skin fade.
Yeah.
And like I still see that a bit, but I think it's actually getting maybe a bit less now. Maybe people going, I don't know, down the taper route like I am, maybe a bit tidier.
Yeah.
More entered like the kind of professional space, I guess.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one because I work with quite a lot of people that are actually similar age to me.
Oh yeah.
So I think we've all grown like up around people getting fades, skin fades. So, but more and more, it's like I think people are at my work at least. They're not going for the skin anymore. They're going for maybe like a 0.5, maybe like a 1.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? What have you seen any trends over the years?
Oh yeah. You trying to say over the years? You trying to say I've lived? No, we're joking. Yeah. God, I've been through. How many trends have I been through now? I've probably been through 3 common trends, I would say. The first one was like the kind of V cut that everyone was getting. You probably don't remember that, but everyone was getting this kind of like V all the way down to here, or a mullet where it was like basically it was never a skin fade. It was like maybe a 1, and the hair was down to like here, and you used to straighten it. The times when Beckham had his like fringe shaved off, it was very asymmetric, very creative. That was big. The kind of like blonde mohawk sort of effect. That was really big. And then obviously, I think after that everything went a bit sort of. Say Beckham kind of brought in that kind of. It was a bit when the kind of pompadour skin fade thing kind of came in, and Beckham had that. It was almost like a shave. It was almost like a mohawk brushed over. I think he wore his hair after the Olympics, and it was like gelled right up and back, but it was really high and tight. That became quite a big trend, and then obviously the skin fades, hard parts, and then now the kind of the longer medium length curtains kind of things come in. So, it's quite a lot of trends in a sense, but it's not in a way that it's been doing it for 21 years, so it's not really that long for new trends to come around, if you know what I mean. It's usually like every 10, 20 years a new trend comes around, especially in fashion and things. So yeah, I've seen a few, mate.
I feel like the mullet's coming back in.
It is, yeah, it seems to be. I've only done about 4 or 5, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a few guys who've needed a bit of convincing to get one done, which I haven't really got the heart to do yet because it wouldn't have suited them. But I definitely, I know some of them are really dying to get one done. I did do one for a guy actually. Oh God, this is a few months ago now. He was going to his brother's wedding, And he didn't tell his brother he was getting a mullet, and he just rocked up to the wedding with an actual mullet. I was just thinking, wow, you're brave. Yeah. So yeah, that was one of the first ones I done. So and then we done some on here.
Came in with the mullet, or you that was
no, we came in with long hair, and he just wanted the sides cut on the top. And that was it. So it's quite a brave thing to do on the day of your, or the day before your brother's wedding. So you know, yeah. But yeah, do you know what? It looked really nice actually as well. Those actually look really good.
I think some of the right people, they look pretty good actually.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
Yeah, it's funny that talking about trends, like I think it was a Beckham thing, but I remember when I was in maybe like year 7 or primary school, everyone would like gel their hair all the way up, but just the like the front bit was like a fringe.
Oh wow, okay.
Like it would, yeah, they'd comb the front all the way down, but all the rest of the hair would be spiked up. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are you into? Did you ever watch the In-Betweeners?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So you know the style that oh god, what's his name again? The tall guy who
his hair spiked all the way up at the front.
He just had the front spiked up and everywhere else down. Yeah. I know, that's it. But the thing is, like, there was a few guys who I knew who used to come into the shop I worked in at the time who had the hair like that. So it was kind of like that was the kind of the step on to people using gel, you know, from when they had never used gel before. They used to kind of, or water in fact, they used to kind of like, they used to do this thing, I don't know if anyone remembers when people used to, I don't know if you can see me, but they used to do this thing where they used to just do that and like push the hair into the palm and then pull it off. That was kind of a look for a while, mate. And yeah, it was popular, mate. Yeah. It was like just as the transition of like product was coming in, you know.
Yeah. I think it's like you say, you never know what's going to kind of come in next.
No, you don't, mate.
Like, I never would have thought mullets would have kind of come back like they did.
No, I wouldn't have neither. No, I never thought centre parts ever would, because a centre part hairstyle was never deemed a fashionable hairstyle. Like, you know, from what I remember, it was never something that I'd ever hear people going, oh, I can't wait to grow my hair long to get a centre part. It was never, I don't know if it was just the area that I grew up in or what, but obviously it was a popular hairstyle, but it was a boy band hairstyle, you know. It was not something that I think a lot of young lads would have walked around with back then. I don't think they were the sort of trendsetters for young lads. Whereas now, I think, you know, people like DiCaprio and stuff like that, like, you know, a lot of guys do really like him now and kind of copy his style, don't they? Or appreciate it more, I'd say, more than anything else. I don't think we went as a generation that appreciated somebody with a good haircut, I suppose.
Do you feel like you yourself have had every type of haircut? Have you stuck with a similar sort of style? Like, have you ever had long hair?
It's the only one I never have had is long hair. I've never had long hair. I've had colour, I've had mohawks, I've had mullets, I've had curtains, I've had shaved heads, but I've like shaved my head to like zero, like skin before. I've had a lot of different haircuts. I had the trendy ones with the hard parts and stuff like that. I've done that.
So how long have you lived in London?
So I don't live in London anymore, but I did live in London for 12 years. Then I moved back 4 years ago. I moved back to Liverpool 4 years ago.
You're in Liverpool now?
Yeah. I just commute. I just come down on a Thursday and go back on a Friday, or whenever we film. Yeah.
Fair enough. I guess all the trains have been super quick nowadays. They speed them up, don't they? So is it?
Yeah, it's quick. Yeah, it's two and a bit hours. It's very quick. I mean, when I lived in like Zone 6 in London, it could sometimes take me 2 hours to get to like Mayfair or something. You know, when I used to work there. So in a way, it isn't that much further in terms of like train time. Obviously, it isn't in miles, but I couldn't commute it every day though. It'd be a bit too much if I tried to commute every day. Yeah. So I wouldn't do that. But work's a treat, mate. If I'm honest, it lets me focus on work, put all my effort into work, and then go home and be a dad kind of thing. Like it works well. It's good work-life. It's a work-life balance, basically, mate. You know, it's what I've strived for a lot of my career is to have a work-life balance. Because I used to be a workaholic, mate. You know what I mean? I used to work 6-7 days a week. Always saying yes to things. You know, always going to events. Always taking on new clients. Always, you know what I mean? Like I'd never sort of stop. Whereas I had to kind of tell myself to stop. Otherwise, I was going to burn myself out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's good, especially now you've got kids in life. I feel like we've stepped into an era now where people can actually get a bit of flexibility.
Definitely, mate.
Like work from home and all that. So.
You've got to kind of put the work effort in to get the flexibility, though. You know, it doesn't just come. I mean, it's obviously if you're in IT or something, or you're in a computer or office-based job, then there's a lot more flexibility since COVID. But as in a in a client facing job like mine, where you've got to be present and you've got to be in a shop or whatever, it's very hard to get a work-life balance until you've kind of built up enough clientele that you can step away for a few days, you know, and just work a certain number of days, because it is quite hard otherwise.
How old is your kid?
I've got 3, mate. I've got a 10-year-old, I've got a 5-year-old, and I've got a 3-year-old.
Perfect. Wow, that's a busy household.
It is, mate. It's a very busy household. Busy trying to get them all bathed by 6:30 in the morning, mate. Yeah, that's a busy one, mate. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's definitely the most rewarding thing I've ever done by far, you know.
And do you like it being back home in Liverpool?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's home, innit? You know. Yeah. So it's familiar. I mean, London's very familiar to me as well. I mean, living here for the majority of my adult life, and obviously I spend 3 days a week here every week. So I know London quite well as well. So it's nice just to have, like, London's a very busy city. It's very, very busy. It's you know, it is the rat race, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's very, very intense. Yeah. Whereas Liverpool isn't as busy. It isn't as intense. I don't live in the city centre. I probably live on the outskirts. So I live 5 minutes from a dairy farm, mate. You know what I mean? It's like we've got everything we need by us, but I've got farmland 5 minutes from my house. You know what I mean? It makes a big, big difference. So yeah, it's nice in that sense. Like, we've got, you know, we're 25 minutes from the city of Liverpool. I can get the train fairly easily, you know. I've got parking everywhere and all that sort of stuff in the city centre. There's no one-way system or congestion. Well, there's a one-way system, but there's no congestion charge, which is ideal, you know, because that saves you a fair whack. Yeah, totally, yeah. Yeah, and then obviously I come to London and I have I get the London experience of working down here. So it's nice. It's a nice balance, mate. It's all I can really say about it, really, because I don't go out anywhere. I don't sort of socialise out in the cities or anything like that. I just tend to work or spend time with the family, like, you know. So yeah, I don't tend to go out or anything like that. But so I don't really see much of London anymore. I'm working quite late, like quite long hours and stuff. So it's a tough one in that sense. But you know, when you get a couple of days off in the week and you can kind of catch up, and you can just kind of catch up on emails, catch up on texts. You know, if you need to catch up with friends and whatnot, that kind of really helps. But I've managed to connect the sides in, mate. I'm just kind of going over them now with the scissors, just to give you kind of more of a seamless blend. I just want to go over any bits to make it look more scissor cut as well. You know what I mean? To take that effect away, and then just get a nice blend in there as well. Right, so on the top now. So the backing sides, I feel are done. Okay, they've kind of got that blend in there now. I've kind of connected in what we need to connect in, as you can probably see. It's sitting nice. I'll show you the mirror in a minute, but all we need to do now is cut the top down a bit. Okay, so let's just try and cut the shape into this to grow it out. So hopefully try and give it a couple, maybe 6 to 8 weeks or something like that to grow it out properly. Sure. And then come in and we'll cut it perfectly into shape for you. All right, so head back for me. Now I'm going to start at the front, because I want to try and maintain length at the front. And I know if I start picking up bits through the back, I can already tell, obviously, from before, the crown was a bit short and things like that. So I want to try and work on whatever length we're trying to play with at the front, because we still want to have that up and over. I still want to hopefully try and part it for them if I can as well. I think I might be able to still get a part in there, but never sort of want to promise that to your client just in case you can't. So I always try and expect the worst, hope for the best in a sense. So I'm going to pick that up. Now I want to use that length there as the guide. So I want to take about that much off. Are you okay with that, mate? If you can see that?
Absolutely, yeah. Go ahead.
Cool. All right, I'm going to cut this nice and straight. Because you've got that little bit of curl in there, and also it's been thinned out quite a lot. And I think for Kieran's hair, you don't want to thin this hair out too much because it's quite fine textured. And I think if you start to thin it out a lot, it will just lie too flat and also start to feel thinner, which you don't want. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting it nice and blunt. I'm going to stay away from texturizing it too much. I'm going to dry it off before we do anything like that and see how it's feeling and how it's falling. But this is all about shape. So texture, if he's wearing it over to one side, he doesn't need too much texture. I always try and put a little bit of something in just so he's got a variety. But I think for what we're trying to achieve today, I don't think we really need to go overboard on that. I think we just need to really give him a nice connected, balanced haircut. So what products are you using in your hair at the moment?
I don't use any products. I only use actually wet in the shower and get a hair dryer to it, to be honest.
Oh, you do get a hair dryer, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's alright. That's good. Do you use anything? So do you use anything before you dry your hair? Like, do you use like a salt spray or anything like that at all?
I did recently buy a salt spray, actually.
Okay.
Because I I was on holiday, and it was near the ocean. Every day it was just salt in my in my hair, and I was like, oh my god, I can style it so easily.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, beach hair is like the best, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, like it was. I could have it any style I wanted. It looked great. So.
Nice.
Like, you know what? I think I better get me a salt spray.
That's always a big thing, I think, with products. It's got to smell good as well, you know. Don't need to overpower your aftershave, but I'll style it, you know, like you do. I'll blow dry it. Won't put any after product on or nothing like that at all. And hopefully you'll see, and hopefully you'll find that product works as well for you. All right.
Do you think a salt spray is the right thing?
I do, yeah. I think it'll add a lot of thickness to your hair, which I think, because of your fine texture, it'd be quite nice to give you that fuller finish.
Yeah.
Again, because you're not wearing product in your hair, it's got a little tiny bit of hold, which is nice. But one of the main things is that it protects your hair against the heat.
Yeah.
So it'll add that little bit of barrier over your hair as well, which I think everybody needs when they're using a hairdryer. It's just a nice way of being able to style your hair, but also protect it as well. You know, because you were saying before your hair feels damaged, it's probably because you're using a lot of heat with nothing on it. You're just burning the ends. So if you've got any bits that have been thinned out too much and they're quite sort of sparse and on their own, and because you've already got your hair's already a fine texture, they'll just burn because they've got no support around them. They're just like almost like single hairs. So they'll probably feel like, you know, you got little bits that didn't sit right and stuff. It's because they've either been thinned out too much, which you shouldn't really do on your hair because it won't work. And then obviously when you put heat towards it, because there isn't as much hair there, the ends of the hair just burns. And that's probably why after a bit of time you notice your hair changing.
So if they pull out the thinning scissors, say, tell them to come back.
No, not just that, but if they start thinning out in any way, like whether they start like point cutting at the root or they start getting a razor out or something, you don't really need that in your hair. Your hair will fall. If you use a hairdryer with salt spray and you bring it over to one side, that's all you need to do.
Okay.
You know, the cut is the cut. It should be cut perfect for you. All right. We'll see if it's sitting perfectly. So this is the Barbering, right? Texturizing salt spray.
Okay.
So I'd use maybe 5 or 6 pumps, all right? Just lift your hair up like this, so it's not lying too flat because you want to get it into the hair.
Yeah.
Spike it up almost. And spray it in, all right? Let's try this part in. So, low speed and a high heat. And dry it across like this to the part. Wrapping the brush around, like so. Hold the heat down a little bit now because it's starting to dry out a little bit. Over like that. So what I've done is try to cut it in as best I can, right?
Yeah.
So that's uniform. So there's no, this should be the longest point, but it's not because I can't do anything about the length, right? Yeah. But what I've done is I tried to cut it so it's all the same, it's all connected both sides. Yeah. That would just allow you that it doesn't, if you don't get the part on perfect, it will grow out still really nicely, okay? Because if you're still growing something out from a haircut that maybe was like maybe one side too long or whatever, what you need to do is kind of go for more of a uniform finish, and then that way when you get to the length you want, then you cut the shape into it. Okay, but I've just cut it all uniform and just blow dried it into a pattern for you. Yeah. But just have a feel of your hair, have a feel of that balmain. I mean, it looks really thick. Can you feel you've got product in it? But it's not like overly styled. Like, you just leave it at that. Yeah, you can't tell. No?
That's ideal, actually.
Looks good, doesn't it? And that's all you need to do. There you go, man. So let me show you the mirror.
That's perfect.
You're welcome, man. Looks great. So that's the back and sides.
Yeah.
Can you see that? Yeah.
Perfect.
So it just cuts in.
Yeah.
So I've tried to keep it looking as what it did in that photograph. And then just fade it down for you.
That's everything I hoped it'd be.
Thanks, man. That's good to hear, mate. That's good to hear. Thanks, man. That's what I mean, expectation versus reality. Thank God it worked this time, mate.
I think